As a parent, how well do you really know your child's teacher? Do you know what happens when your little one is at school and you're not there? In this story, a teacher everyone trusted was hiding a terrible secret. What it led to will leave you speechless. In the town of Lumiko, life moved quickly for some and painfully slow for others. It was a place where dreams were either built or broken. For Grace, a young woman in her late 20s, Lumiko represented nothing but struggle. She had spent 7 exhausting years pursuing a law degree, but all she had to show for it was an empty wallet and unfulfilled dreams. Grace had once imagined herself as a successful lawyer, walking confidently into courtrooms, handling high-profile cases, and earning millions. Instead, she sat in a dimly lit apartment, surrounded by unpaid bills. Job opportunities were scarce, and every law firm she applied to gave the same reply. "We'll get back to you." One evening, her phone rang. It was Kemi, an old friend from secondary school. "Grace, how are you managing these days?" Kemi's voice was warm but curious. Grace sighed. "Managing is the right word, no job, no money." "I might be able to help," Kemi said. "There's a teaching job at Sunrise International School. They need someone urgently, and the pay isn't bad." Grace frowned. "Children? You know I don't like children, they're noisy and full of drama." Kemi laughed softly. "At least think about it. It's better than staying hungry. You can do it for a while, until something better comes up." That night, Grace lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Teaching kids. God, is this what my life has come to? The next morning, desperation made the decision for her. Sunrise International School was nothing like Grace had expected. The gates were golden, classrooms air-conditioned, and floors so clean they shone. Parents arrived in sleek cars to drop off their well-dressed children. Grace walked in with her single pair of worn-out black shoes. "Welcome, Miss Grace," said the principal, a strict-looking woman in glasses. "You'll handle the kindergarten 2 class, ages 4 to 5. "Thank you, ma'am," Grace said with a polite smile. "I'll do my best." Inside the classroom, curious little faces stared at her. "Good morning, Ma," they chorused. "Good morning," she replied, forcing a smile. "These little humans will be my headache." A sinister habit begins. During break time, Grace watched the children unpack their colorful lunch boxes. The aroma of jollof rice, fried chicken, and roasted plantain filled the air. Her stomach growled, she hadn't eaten since morning. One little boy, Top, had a big plate of jollof with 2 pieces of chicken. Grace's eyes lingered on his food. "Top, come here," she said sweetly. "Yes, Auntie Grace," he asked, walking over. Grace crouched down. "You know, in this life there are things we don't tell anyone, not even our parents." "Why, Auntie?" "Because if you tell, something bad can happen. You've heard of hellfire, right?" Top nodded, eyes wide. "If you don't keep secrets, you might go there," she whispered. "You don't want that, do you?" "No, Auntie." "Good boy. Now let me just taste your food. Don't tell anyone, okay?" From that day on, Grace repeated the same trick with several children. She warned them that disobedient children go to hellfire. Soon, they learned to stay quiet whenever she took their food. Weeks passed. Grace grew more confident, not as a teacher, but as someone exploiting innocent children. 2 months later, Grace's finances worsened. Her small salary barely covered rent and transport. One evening, Kemi visited her. "Grace, you look exhausted. What's wrong?" "I can't keep living like this," Grace muttered. "I need something big, something life-changing." Kemi smiled faintly. "There's a way, but you have to be ready." "What do you mean?" Grace asked cautiously. "I know someone who helps people make real money, but it's not for the faint-hearted." Late one night, Kemi took her to a secluded house on the outskirts of Lumiko. Inside, a man dressed in a red suit greeted them with a calm, unreadable smile. "Welcome," he said softly. "What brings you here?" "My friend needs financial help," Kemi replied. "She's a teacher." The man nodded. "Good. Teachers are useful." "Useful for what?" Grace asked uneasily. He leaned forward. "I'll pay you handsomely for something simple, hair." "Human hair?" Grace blinked. "Hair? Yes. Hair carries energy, destinies. Bring me a batch of hair, and I'll pay you 500,000 Nigerian nairas. Bring me a child's hair, and I'll pay you 1 million Nigerian nairas." Grace froze. "A child's hair?" Kemi whispered, "Grace, this is our chance. Think about it, no more debts, no more hunger." Grace hesitated, but the memory of her landlord banging on the door, her empty fridge, and her fading dreams broke her resolve. "I'll do it," she said quietly. Back at school, Grace acted normal, teaching, smiling, pretending to care. But secretly, she was planning. During break time, she called Tope again. "Tope, do you know you're my favorite student?" His face lit up. "Really, Auntie?" "Yes, but don't tell anyone, it's a secret. Now, let me take a little of your hair. It's like a blessing to make you smart." "Will it hurt?" "No, darling. Just remember, if you tell anyone, you go to hellfire." Terrified, Tope nodded as she snipped a small piece of his hair. That evening, Grace brought the hair to the man in the red suit. He smiled, weighed it, and handed her 1 million Nigerian nairas in crisp notes. For the first time in years, Grace felt powerful. She paid off her rent, stocked her kitchen, and bought new clothes. But her greed grew. Each week, she collected more, snipping hair from frightened children and warning them to keep quiet. Soon, some of the children began to fall ill. Tope became pale and withdrawn. Another girl, Ada, complained of headaches. Doctors found nothing wrong. Meanwhile, Grace continued living lavishly, pretending everything was fine. One observant girl, Lydia, started noticing strange things. She saw how Auntie Grace whispered to certain children and took something from them. One day, Grace called her too. "Lydia, come here. Do you want to be a good girl and go to heaven?" "Yes, Auntie." "Good. Then let me take a little of your hair, but if you tell anyone," Grace's voice darkened, "you go to hell." Terrified, Lydia obeyed. At home, Lydia's mother, a skilled hairdresser, noticed something wrong. "Lydia, why does it look like someone cut your hair?" Lydia looked down. "Nothing, Mommy." Her mother frowned. "Are you sure?" But Lydia stayed silent, remembering the warning. Soon, Lydia fell ill. When her condition worsened, her mother begged her to speak. Through tears, Lydia whispered, "It's Auntie Grace, she cuts our hair. She said if I tell, I'll go to hell." Her mother was horrified. "No, my child. You did nothing wrong. That woman lied." Justice. The next morning, Lydia's mother stormed into Sunrise International School. She demanded to see the principal. "There's something very wrong happening to my daughter," she said firmly. "I suspect her teacher, Miss Grace." The principal frowned. "That's a serious accusation. Do you have proof?" "Check the CCTV footage." Together, they reviewed the recordings and saw everything. Grace collecting food, cutting children's hair, whispering in their ears. The principal's face went pale. "I can't believe this." Grace was summoned immediately. Lydia's mother stood in the office, arms folded. "Miss Grace," the principal said coldly. "We've seen the footage. Why were you cutting the children's hair?" Grace stammered, "It's not what you think." Then explain. Lydia's mother shouted. Under pressure, Grace broke down. She confessed everything, the man in the red suit, the payments, the lies. I was desperate, she sobbed. I didn't think it would hurt anyone. My daughter is in the hospital because of you. Lydia's mother screamed. The principal shook her head. You've betrayed this school, the parents, and these innocent children. You're going to the police. The aftermath. The police investigation led them straight to the man in the red suit. His house was raided, and what they found was horrifying: bags of labeled children's hair, strange symbols, and ritual objects. It was revealed that he used the children's hair in dark rituals, draining their energy and destinies to enrich himself and those who supplied it. Grace's greed had made her an accomplice to evil. The affected parents came together to pray for their children. Slowly, the children recovered, though some remained weak for a long time. Grace was sentenced to prison. But the damage she caused lived on, a permanent scar and a warning. Moral lesson. Parents, be vigilant. Know what happens in your child's life. Children, always tell the truth. Never let fear silence you. Evil often hides behind familiar faces, but truth and courage will always expose it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more African story.